The man responsible for Diddy just died, and unfortunately for him, his legacy has been tarnished by the horrible crimes of Diddy, because a lot of people think that this is actually the man that might have taught Diddy to diddle exactly how he diddled. And some people are actually thinking that this man might have been abusing Diddy from the very start. I'm going to break it all down to you in this video, but this is Clive Davis. He has just been reported dead at age 94. Okay, so here is the history. Clive Davis, the legendary music mogul who helped launch the careers of icons like Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, Kelly Clarkson and more, is dead. TMZ has confirmed. He died Monday at his home in New York City, as first reported by the New York Times. There he is. 94 is crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. But it says the cause of death is unclear, but as we reported, there were concerns about his health weeks ago when he was hospitalized in New York with an upper respiratory infection. He was later discharged on June the 4th and returned home, with a rep telling TMZ that he was in good spirits and recovering. Over a career spanning more than 6 decades, Clive shaped the sound of popular music from the executive suite, earning a reputation as a kingmaker whose ear for talent changed the industry forever. For the young kids out there, Clive Davis was a huge deal in the business. On top of discovering Whitney, he founded Bad Boy Records with Sean Diddy Combs. He signed, developed, and championed many of the biggest names in music, including Alicia Keys, Janis Joplin, Barry Manilow, Bruce Springsteen, and countless others. Said he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2000 and became almost as famous for his star-studded annual pre-Grammy Gala as he was for discovering talent, and the 200-seat theatre at the Grammy Museum is actually named after him. Davis also battled Bell's palsy in 2021 but remained active in the music world well into his 90s. His impact on the business is difficult to overstate. Generations of artists owe part of their success to his guidance and ability to spot a star before the rest of the world caught on. But here's the problem. He had a very controversial past, and according to some people, including Suge Knight, Mr. Death Row Records, he actually was the person who first started abusing Diddy. Look at this.
Perpetrator. Is that what you're suggesting about Sean Combs, that he was sexually abused and he now sexually abuses?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think he repeat what was done to him. And like I said, if you look at Russell Simmons, you know the truth. Andre Rail, you know the truth. Clive Davis, you know the truth. Jimmy Iovine, you know the truth. So there's not certain things that all of a sudden you got this. The industry is a quick business. It's been like that for a long time. And the casting couch is real, but it's for women and men. But far from all that, I think the most important thing is I feel like they should let Puffy tell his truth. I'm quite sure.
So Suge Knight's basically saying that Diddy might well have been abused by a bunch of these people, including Clive Davis. And rumors about Clive Davis and Diddy having a sexual relationship have actually existed since all the way back in the 1990s.
So the relationship between Clive Davis and Diddy is interesting because when Diddy's 23 years old, he's making a name for himself. Clive gave him $15 million to start Bad Boy Records. And then later on, they did even a bigger deal where Clive gave him $50 million advance on future earnings. This is 5 years later in 1998. $6 million upfront payment, $700,000 annual salary, and a state-of-the-art recording studio. We're talking about $2 million recording studio. This is when he went after Faith Evans. He got Biggie in the early 90s. This is when it started. But there's a relationship with Clive. And it's interesting because Clive later on, they say something may have happened here because Suge said Clive taught him the bad habits, and later on Clive comes out and says the following: yes, record mogul Clive Davis has identified as being bisexual. He publicly revealed in his memoir, this is not allegedly, he said it, the soundtrack of my life. At the age of 80, he also discussed in an interview with Katie Couric, expressing the hope that his coming out would contribute to greater understanding of bisexuality. That's Clive Davis.
So rumor has it that he might have been the diddler that first diddled Diddy. So during his rise to the top as a music executive, there have been a lot of very sordid accusations aimed at Clive Davis. He'd been implemented in multiple scandals, including alleged crimes such as payola and drug dealing. Listen to this.
This was kind of weird with Diddy, with certain patterns on certain people in his life. I had Suge Knight on. While around the same time while this is going on, 6, 7, 8 months ago. And he says, look, no man wakes up one day and learns how to do this kind of stuff. What do you mean no man wakes up one day? Somebody had to teach you on how to bribe and do this and hold people hostage and da-da-da-da-da. Kind of weird. And then Clive Davis's name comes up. And in Clive Davis, apparently, when you look at this in the early 70s, federal authorities started investigating whether major records, including Columbia Records, a division of CBS, were directly or indirectly involved in a drug-fueled payola scheme. These were illegal arrangements where drugs or money were allegedly used to bribe radio DJs and stations to give preferential airplay to certain artists. You know who was the leading guy for Columbia at the time? A guy named Clive Davis in 1973, a rising executive and then president of Columbia Records, fired by CBS in 1973. The official reason cited the misuse of company funds. He was accused of charging personal expense, including lavish bar mitzvah costs for his son, to the company. I mean, obviously that's not good, but if you look at the charts, you hear them using heroin and other drugs to bribe DJs. Even his former EA testified and gave statements that Clive Davis authorized payola practices, further damaging his reputation. So what does Clive Davis do? Starts his own company called Arista Records in 1974. Now, while he's going through, the CBS sues him to recover some of the funds. Davis was not indicted or charged with any crime, including the broader allegations on payola or drug-related misconduct.
So he was apparently involved in some very dark stuff. Now, basically, on his rise to the top, he was apparently implicated, but he was never charged. All right, and multiple of these crimes, payola, drug dealing, all types of strange stuff. It was all these accusations had circulated in the industry. Add that on top of the alleged diddling of Diddy, but he was never charged. It never went anywhere. He took P. Diddy by the hand. Now, here's what's really interesting. It comes up later in this interview. Basically, people have been wondering, why wasn't Clive Davis ever arrested? All right. And apparently the reason for this might be, seriously, allegedly, they're saying that he was actually a snitch. He was a government informant. And apparently, according to some people, allegedly, in some people's opinion, that he was actually blackmailing people just like Epstein. And he might have taught Diddy that. They're saying that he might have had, look, no way you can get away with these sorts of crimes without having some deal worked out. Could he be snitching? Could he be doing blackmail? We don't know. But apparently a lot of people raised their eyebrows when one of his most famous artists, Whitney Houston, died, and he infamously went straight on to host a Grammy party right after.
She was doing 2 numbers in a mother's act, so I went in, and the first song she sang, I knew. Just a revelation.
So she lit up your life.
She lit up my life. She lit up the room. I knew that I had to sign her.
I was there that historic night, that party that you throw every year, and the tragic day that she died. There were many. Why did you let the party go on?
Of course, this is a personal thing. But the Grammys were the next night. You don't cancel. You turn an evening into a tribute.
You did a magnificent evening.
Into...
Did you give a thought to canceling?
Never.
You never thought?
Never.
Did you ever think...
And the family did not want me to give a thought.
Didn't?
No.
Didn't even think about cancelling, right? People saying that he looks devious. They're saying she was a sacrifice. This guy gives me chills in my bones. I don't think any civilized society would be okay with a party just as someone's dead body has been found in the same moment. And that in too close proximity, especially if you personally knew the deceased person, right? I can understand the awards wouldn't be cancelled. They were the next day, but not cancelling an ongoing party to show some respect to someone that just died. Sheesh. Inhuman and sickly. Clive was never young. He always had that old face, right? Interesting. Said he should have asked him why he requested that her lifeless body stay in the room and not be removed by the coroner for the entire duration of the party. Despicable man. It's dark, man. It's dark. So it's dark. So a lot of people feel like it was quite suspicious how he came out in 2013 as bisexual. Kind of came out of nowhere. And, you know, they were saying that he might have taught Diddy how to diddle. We've seen all these weird freak-off videos of Diddy, other men involved. Did this man teach Diddy?
Because the soundtrack of your life includes some fascinatingly honest detail about you, Clive Davis, your private life. It's made lots of headlines. I'm not breaching any confidence when I say you've had an interesting personal life. You got married twice to women, but as you're very honest in the book about, you're bisexual, and you've been involved in 2 lengthy relationships with men, including one now. What has been the reaction to these revelations in the book, and have you been surprised by it?
I've not been surprised, honestly, but firstly, from my family, from my children who've known, this wasn't that I was bisexual when I was married. This is something that only occurred after my second marriage failed. So for the first time, having failed in marriage twice, not related at all to sex, I opened myself up to the possibility of having a relationship with a person rather than a gender. And that's what I turned to. But I found that the attitude in general towards bisexuality is you're either gay, you're straight, or you're lying.
Right.
For me, it's not been that case. And maybe, even though this is just a part of my life, and I wouldn't have written the autobiography without disclosing that, maybe some good will come of it.
I've always suspected that people who say they're bisexual, the celebrities I've seen who said it, probably are gay.
With a healthy degree of skepticism, I'm here to say that bisexuality does exist, and for me, I turned to it after my second marriage failed, and I dated women, and I dated a few men, and I ended up in a relationship with a man.
Gay marriage is now legal in 7 or 8 states in America. Would you like to get married to a man one day?
I've been married twice. That's enough for me. So then on that subject, you know, I've been there.
But are you pleased to see the way the gay marriage debate's gone?
I'm very pleased. I support same-sex marriage. I'm really so happy that President Obama has taken an affirmative position. I'm happy to see the public opinion polls that know that this is right and the right thing to do, so that, yes, I support it. I would contribute to the cause.
Because the soundtrack...
There's nothing wrong with being bisexual, nothing wrong with being gay, but the fact that he came out as bisexual when he was 80 was a little bit strange. And then you combine that with the fact that allegedly things were going on behind the scenes, rumors that Diddy was maybe involved with him in the early days. All right, they started Bad Boy Records for real. And it is very strange. So in 2018, Clive Davis would actually explain how he met Diddy and how Diddy actually inspired the name of his documentary.
So I have to ask you, what was your favorite memory working with Diddy?
Favorite memory working Diddy. What's he thinking?
You know, personally, I've got to tell you, he really is a major star in this film tonight. He's a spokesman all the way through. I met him before I ever knew of him. I met him when he was 21 years old. And when we met, you know, he played me Craig Mack Flavor in Your Ear. He played
with you?
Me 3 cuts from the forthcoming, you know,
He played you and put flavor in your ear.
Notorious B.I.G. album. And we talked for hours and hours about music, and I poured into his dream. And
I poured into his dream.
My name's Bad Boy Records. And we had an incredible run, an incredible period with all the artists that are touring, you know, from Mace and him, and obviously the great legacy of Biggie and, you know, Faith and 112. So that total, I don't want to leave anybody out, but, you know, we shared conventions and conferences and rallies together. And to see him, you know, at the time that Whitney died, that night when we were at, you know, my Grammy party, and it was Puffy. It really was Puffy, Diddy, all Puffy, of the... Back to Puffy. And for him to so articulately why we were there together, why the party had to go on, why the musical community had to be joined together. Very touching, very touching.
So it was a Diddy party, all right? It was a Diddy party after the Grammys, apparently, all right? Apparently Diddy did a great job of letting everybody know why they were still partying in light of this shocking death. So while Diddy was going through his trial, interestingly enough, despite locking in with Diddy so early, so young, all right, giving Diddy some of his first opportunities, when Diddy was going through his trial, Clive was asked about him and he acted like he didn't even know who he was. Acted like he didn't even know who he was. So this has been going around TikTok, all right? And this is a clip of him being asked about him at the trial.
Curious about the status of P. Diddy.
Status of what?
P. Diddy. Diddy.
Puppy. The status of Puppy. Yeah.
What do you make of that situation? All right. No comment from Clive Davis on P. Diddy. Mr. Davis, you were a major influence on the career of P. Diddy. Have you spoken to him since the federal raid? Yes. Have you spoken to Sean Combs?
Just no idea. He gets asked about Diddy, suddenly it's Joe Biden.
Any comments about Diddy? He credits you as one of his mentors.
Got nothing to say about Diddy after all of that. It's a little bit weird. Okay, look. All right, rest in peace to Clive Davis, but a lot of people had bad things to say about him, and he allegedly is the man that gave the world Diddy. That's all I'm going to say, okay? Is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. I feel like maybe now that he's passed away, this happens a lot. It's funny, right? Everyone knew so much about Jeffrey Epstein, and then it took him dying and a few years to pass. Suddenly everything came out in the open. I wonder if there'll be any interesting Clive Davis allegations now that he's passed away. You know, all of these rumors, it is very interesting, okay? So look, I will keep you guys updated if I hear anything else, but it is very interesting. It's very bizarre. And at the end of the day, you know, look, people might want to say I'm insulting a dead guy. The guy was 94, okay? He lived plenty of life. He was involved in plenty of things. And I think at this point, we just want to know what was going on through all of those years. Helping found Bad Boy Records. It's a little bit strange. Anyway, let me know what you thought of that. I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.